Well, hello. It is Saturday afternoon, and I'm here. Here I am, doing okay, trying to stay out of this heat. I'm doing something real kind of quick today. I'm not going to use my crock pot. I'm going to use my Instapot. Now, Mom and everybody's always used the crock pot. In the slow cooker, whichever you, but it takes so long. I'm not going to do it. So I've rinsed my, I'm going to make these shorter videos possibly. I've taken my pork steaks and I'm just going to lay them down into my Instapot. About like that. And I'm just going to get them out of the way so I can get my hands rinsed. And let me get my bamboo board so that I can, let me get a mat. Now I want to pepper and salt those, and I should have done that. I can do it like this if I take a few of those out. And I'll just put my pepper right there, my salt right there. And then I'm going to take the onion soup mix, just the Lipton onion soup mix. And I'm just going to coat that kind of down on each pork chop until it's kind of layered. And I'll salt and pepper. I do it in each one. Until I get it all done there. Now, one last layer there. And on this last layer, I'm going to go ahead and just put my whole packet of onion soup mix and a brown gravy mix I've already put in there. I use the au jus gravy mix. So when you go to the store, get your au jus mix and your ranch. You can use ranch. I had onion. That's fine too. You can do that. And then we'll put this in our Instapot. I'm going to put about probably maybe a cup of water down into the bottom of my pan. So now I'm going to put my lid on, lock it in. Billie Jean, make sure the power is on. Lock that in. I'm going to put it on meat. I'm going to put it on 30 minutes. And I'm taking off keep warm. So that will be the meat portion of our meal. Well, I decided after I got the meat in that I am going to make a loaf of bread. Now our meat has been on for 30 minutes and we'll check that, but let me get this is that Wolfgang Puck Bistro Collection bread machine, brand new. Everything was still in the package, and I got it at the pawn shop. These sell for around, I would say, $100, $150 on eBay or something like that. Brand new, they were very expensive. And I got this one for $32. So if you go to pawn shops like I do, you just watch this stuff and you'll you can find bargains on the Instapots and everything. Sometimes I see Instapots for 20 bucks. You know, $100 Instapot for $20. So I washed all this, even though it was new. I washed everything, and we'll put that down into the. Just fits down into, most of them do, just fits down in there. And let me get what I need. Let's get about a cup. Where is my cup? If y'all have never used a bread machine, then that's one reason I'm going to show you about this. Because I've got my hot water dispenser, but I've got to change the filter on it. So I'm just going to take it out of my sink here into one of my $2 Anchor Hawking cups that I got at Walmart on sale. Y'all remember I bought 3 of them and I've loved every one of them. So let me get this water up temperature because I haven't used it in the last 20 minutes. Let me let this natural release meat. I'm going to leave it on natural release. In your Instapot, don't push your button and let off the steam. You want that meat to sit in there after the pressure goes off, you know. I'll tell you what, I'm going to get a cup. Let's see, 1 cup. And I'm just going to put it in my microwave for just a few seconds because I want it really warm. Not scalding. You will kill your yeast if you use scalding water. You just only can use warm water because that's a live thing going on there. That's about 4 seconds. Let's see. Let me see. Now that's just about right. So we'll put that in our hopper, and then let me get some oil. 2 tablespoons of oil. I'm looking at this old recipe that I had. So we'll just do 2 tablespoons. You can eyeball it. About like that. Yeah, there's nothing better than a fresh homemade bread, but I just don't feel like getting in here and doing it all. And when a bread machine will do it for me, I'm going to let it do it for me. So let me get some salt and sugar. Gotta have sugar. Lord, you can't forget the sugar, you know. Here, I'll just use my pure cane sugar. That says 2 tablespoons. And I don't mind if the bread is I'm just going to do 3 teaspoons and then okay, now salt. teaspoon. So we'll do a teaspoon. Let's just do a teaspoon. You don't want your bread to be bland, and that's what I think sometimes. A lot of bread is pretty bland, you know. Okay, now I'm going to get the flour, which I need 3 cups. I don't use all-purpose flour. I use just regular flour. Let me get my flour box here. Let me get my flour box. Get my flour box, y'all. Let's see. I'll get my okay. Got my flour. Now then, I want to get a cup, so we can measure that just right. And the way I do it is I'll just take a measuring cup. Now I want this just on top of my water. I do not want let me go ahead and take this back out because we don't want that all in our machine. And that's about what I'll do. So I'm just going to sprinkle this on the top of that. I don't want to mix it. I just want it floating on the top. Plus this little screen door strainer will get any of those little deals out. That's 2 there. That fire don't have too many little baubles in it. Okay. Now that'll be 3. Okay. That'll be 3. Okay. Now, I'm going to get my lid and put that back in the cabinet. All right. Let me get one of my cup towels and get this little bit of flour. I didn't do as bad as Billie Jean would have, but you see that's down in there. So now on the top of that, where that's just got some flour there at the top, you don't want to put that yeast and mix it in with that flour or anything. You want to just put it on the top, like into a little, like that little hole, so it don't hit the liquid at first. I guess that makes sense. Let me get a 2 1/4 teaspoon. Now I keep my yeast in a mason jar in the freezer so that it, well, hopefully it hadn't lost it. And I put a piece of plastic wrap. So hopefully it hadn't. Let's do right onto that little deal there. There's 1. There's 2. And 4th. A 4th. Okay. Let's get our little plastic put back on our jar and seal that around pretty good because you don't, I stretch it. Put my lid back on there, get my ring, and I put that back onto my mason jar, tighten it, and this is a curd jar, but it's the same. Put it back in the freezer Okay, now then. Now we got that. See, now can y'all see down in there where that's just sitting right on top of that? Right. I got a little flour down in that, and I don't want it in there. This is, get my flour out. Any flour out of that. Got to keep everything clean as we can. Now we'll set that down in there. And I'm going to put that on the basic bread cycle. So first of all, I have to see both sides. So I want a 1.5 pound. See, let's see. That's a small 2 pound. Let me see, small 1 point. Let me look here. 1.5 pound loaf, I think, was this old recipe, and this is set on we'll try that one. That may be 1.5. Color, we want it on, we don't want it dark. We don't want it light. We want it medium. And then we will cycle. Let me put the lid down. Pretty sure. We'll just do the basic cycle on one, and then we will start. Now you see how that's, can you see that in there? It's mixing. See how that's mixing in there? Maybe that will, I hope I've got, well, no, everything's changed. I got to looking and I thought, you know, that's going to take 2.5 hours to cook in my bread machine, or 2 hours. So I don't have time to wait on that. So we're just going to make instead of bread, we're going to make some rolls. I just took it out of the pan, and the bread machine. I'm just going to knead this and get that air out of it and let them get it mixed up good. So the yeast was okay, y'all. You can tell it's was proofing. Then I got to thinking, I'm not going to wait no darn long time for this. So I'm going to do it myself. I'll just do it the old way. And then we'll be shed of it, which means rid of it, get it over with. You do that till it's just mixed and you got your flour and all that. Okay, now let me get me a skillet. I'm gonna cook them in the skillet. Let's see. I'm gonna cook them in a skillet, black iron skillet. Let me get some butter off my butter plate. And I'm gonna just rub that butter around into that skillet there. I'm just gonna take these and I'm gonna make just a little roly-poly. I don't know if we'll have a whole pan or not. I know with a 2-pound recipe you would. That's all right if we don't. We don't need that many. Mom and I don't need that many. Just take it off and roll it around, roll it around. Put a little flour if it gets a little dough tacky. And cut these down a little bit smaller, and then they won't be as big a rolls. But they will. They will work, I think. We'll be shy a little bit of them, but I should have thought instead of making real big ones. I could redo those if I wanted to. I'll take some off of one of these, each one of these. And might get enough. Those were going to be pretty big because they'll puff up. They'll rise on up there to the heavens. So let's just kind of do them down in there like that. There. Now we'll set those over here. Let me get my hands washed. Then we'll check the meat. It's so darn hot in this kitchen. I don't come in here, y'all, in the past few days. That's the reason I can't take this heat. I just cannot take this heat, y'all. You know, I just cannot take this heat. And I imagine a lot of you can't either. Because when it gets 104, 3 or 4 degrees outside, you know, it's hot. Let me get this kind of wiped up a hair. I'm going to put these in my oven on that little proof cycle. Once I get this kind of, those will be all different sizes. They won't look like much, but they'll work. They'll work. Okay. We got some on my plate. All right. Okay, let me get the Instapot open. Hit the steam button I pushed down, so that means there's no steam, and it unlocked. So we're doing good there. So let me get this over here, and I'll be back. Get this out of the pot. Hold on. And then I'll show y'all how this comes out of the Instapot. See there? That just comes out, and we'll see if it just comes off the bone. Just comes off the bone. Well, I want to check proofing of the rolls, and they were proofing out, see, in the pan. So now I think might let them rise a little more, but those I can go ahead and let me see. I can go ahead and bake those. I'm gonna put them on 350 so we can get this show on the road. We'll do it 35 minutes for rolls. I'm not going to do a convection on those. Now here is our pork steak that we have got. And what we'll do is let me get a bowl. And I'm going to, well, I'll tell you what I can do. Instead of a bowl, let's just get us a, let me get one of our little stew pans first. So I'll take my little stew pan there. I don't think that's too hot, but I'm gonna pour some of this juice just into my pan there a little bit. Don't need all of it. You can use some of this to make au jus, or that's what we'll make our gravy for our spuds, our potatoes. I know y'all see this big old bowl here. Well, I'm trying to go through all these utensils. I've got drawers and drawers and drawers. And it seems like they just grow and grow and grow. I mean, I've got them in everything imaginable. Every kind of utensil that you'd want. So, we just have to, then I've just got to thin this stuff out because I can't take much more. Okay, I'm going to make some, the instant potatoes. That's all I'm making today. I'm not going to cock-a-doodle, get out of the way. Get your tail out of the way. Now let me wipe my stove off again and again and again and again. The puppets out of the way. And then I'm going to get one of my carotte pans. And this is what I'm going to put. I'm going to put for my instant potatoes. I'm going to put about a 1.5. About 1 1/3 cups of water. Okay, so let's do 1 1/3 cups of water. Kitchen is just so small, I have to move every little thing. I miss having my hot water dispenser, and I've got to get a new filter for it. It's all that I've got to do. But going into that one of those Lowe's or Home Depots, and I just despise it, y'all. I really do. I despise it. Okay, so there's 1 1/3 cups of water. Let's move our gravy boat pan over. Turn our fire on. Put a little salt in it. Whatever your little thing directs you. Now I use olive oil in mine. for this part. And I'll just get that up. That's just got your oil and your water in it. And this is ours, and I can turn that on. Go ahead and let that be heating there. Okay. Now, you know, I do these with, put a little garlic powder in them because I like garlic mashed potatoes, and I don't like it putting it in at the last, so I just put about a teaspoon into my water there. If I don't want to use fresh, I'll just use that. And I put a little onion powder in it, just a little bit. And of course, we'll pepper it. Let this get up a going here. I got some water on that stove, so we're gonna don't do this at home. We'll let that get up to kind of boiling. Now I'll do the same amount of potatoes as I do the water. It's always the same amount, which is 1 1/3 cups and 1 1/3 cups. So I just measured them out in this instant potatoes. Let's see now. I get a 2/3 cup of milk. Now that'll come after you get that off the burner. And I've got some cream, but I'm just going to use milk. A 2/3 cup of milk. Then I'll get some butter. That's when I'll do the butter. Butter. I'll do the challenge. I'll do the challenge butter because I like challenge butter. Or I like down in Texas, Oklahoma, and all them, you can get, that's a boiling, so let's turn that down. You can get Brahms, which is a dairy store. If you don't live in this part of the world, they won't probably, I don't know where it goes to. So it might be more, over there than not. Let me get a butter plate. Let's see. Let me get a butter plate. Okay, we got our butter on a plate now. Let's set it over here. Now that's just a boiling. Let's take that on off there. I'll get one of my little wood spoons. Now this, you know, I'm gonna stir in my milk. Stir that in there. Now I'll gradually add my the potatoes. Add the little, see that automatically starts thickening. If you've got your liquid hot enough, and you gotta have it like that or it won't be fit to eat. Now I'll just let that sit for a minute there. Let me I'm gonna move my gravy pan over there. I'm gonna get some about 3 pats of butter. I'm just going to lay those right there on them taters. Like that. Now, I'm going to set those over here. And I'm going to cover them with, just going to cover them. Let them just sit there till I get this going. Alright, now let me get that up. Let me get that up there. Now you can use flour or you can use, I'm going to put just about I'd say tablespoon in this little bowl, another one of these little bowls, and put just some water with it. Just some water and cornstarch. Water and cornstarch. Gotta have that. So let's just kind of mix that around. I'm not sure if that's enough. Might ought to put, just a little more. Let me get put a little, a little more. You know, that's the way it goes. I mess up everything. At least I have to vacuum the floor when clean up after every time I cook, because I can't. You know, in the restaurants you had to hose it down with a water hose. That's the way you did it. Clean it out real good. One thing I will say about that cornstarch, you know, face. They didn't have face powder, so they'd use cornstarch. I'm going to turn that down just because that's already a boiling. And I'm going to put some onion powder in that because I like it with a little more oniony gravy and a little garlic, just like we did our spuds. See there how we got that? Now I'll get just a little water. Just about half cup water. That cuts that down from being so meat flavored. Now, there we go. Let's turn it back up a little bit. Get one of my little spoons. Let that get it kind of boiling again, thicker. It'll thicken up. Now we'll add more. We'll add more to that. Let's see here. We want to add a little pepper to that because we didn't. See how that's starting to gravitate from the sides? That means it's fixing to start getting thicker. Now I think I'm going to have to add some more cornstarch because I don't want to act right. When they don't act right, then you have to adjust. But we can do that, can't we? So let's just add, even if it is thick, if it gets too thick, I don't think it will, but we're going to add another tablespoon, because I want that thick gravy for the potatoes and the meat. Let's got a little in it there. Okay, that will picking it up, I'll tell you. See, that's automatically. Automatically. Let's turn that off. See, that's good, thick roast gravy. Thick, thick, thick. So let me get that spoon out of there. That one. Let me get my baby whisk. I'm just going to whip that. Not that you have to, but I do. So I like to kind of get it aerated. So let's thicken that up. Okay, let's set that back there. And let's check our spuds. See how that butter is. Okay, let's do us some pepper in them. Do us some pepper in there. Now I'm going to put some cream in those. Put some cream. Not a lot. Just about that much cream in there. And that'll continue to get them. You can whip them now. And the Billie Jean, been in here messing again, hadn't you, Billie Jean? Okay, now you see how that's whipping those potatoes up? They're not dry or they're like homemade. See how they're whipped up? That cream just does it. All right, let me check the rolls and see what they're doing. They're beeping. Well, let me check them in just a minute. Let me check them. Oh, let me get one of my. I'll go ahead and put some butter on it. Get my little puppets here. Puppety puppety. There's the rolls. Oh, I think they're fine. Let me get some butter though. You know what I might do instead of butter, I may put some olive oil on. That's just as good. Don't put a lot. I just want it to moisten the tops, you know. Let's get us a clean paper towel. I've got a brush and all that, but I'm not gonna mess with it, so I'll just take that on around. Yeah, you want that to soak down in there. Might take a little bit more. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and put butter on it now, since y'all like butter. But you've been better than me, you know. I like butter and I like olive oil too. You know, Grandma and them, they had butter. They didn't have olive oil. all that stuff. It's got a crunch on it, but that'll, once they set and calm down, they'll be a good, let me turn my oven off. They'll be a good do. So there's the butter, buttered rolls, olive oil buttered rolls. I'll get one out. Let me see, I've got a tongue. I can get a tongue. I like these tongs. I like using them. And a lot of times, so you can just pull them rolls off of there, out of there. So, there we go. Oh, Big Green. There's our rolls. Let me get a plate. We're going to use a paper plate because I'm not deep washing those dishes. Even if y'all were here, no, forget it. Forget it. Let's see. Let's get that roll. See there? Oh, hot, hot, hot. But let me pull that pan over. And I'll just pull that. Oh, there's your good roll. Now we'll put some butter on there. Buttered roll. Nothing like a good buttered roll. Oh. Y'all, this video is going to be long. Y'all will just have to. Y'all will just have to fast forward it. Now let me get this, let me get a roll pan out of the way for right now. Because I've got to get Mom's plate fixed. And might as well use these tongs because these bones, and let me pull that over there. See? Can y'all see down there? I think you can. See how that meat it'll fall off. See how it just falls off. So let me kind of, see, look how it just falls off. Lord, we don't want that little bone in there. We'll take out that little baby bone. And I'll get her some pieces here. Some pork pieces, because that is just soft as a, you know what. Let me get a, okay. Well, I don't know where my big meat fork is. It's here. We'll just use a regular. Let's just use a, oh, let me move these over. Back over. See, I told you it's small, but we'll do what we can do, don't we? All right. Let's just cut that. See how that just comes apart. There's nothing. Look, I'm just not even really cutting it. It just falls apart. Just plumb falls apart. Now I'll put that roll up a little bit. Let's get our some potatoes. Banana. I don't know where that came from, y'all. Sometimes I don't know where that comes from. And we'll put a little gravy on there. Let's get us a little bit of this gravy. And we'll just put it on there and put it on the potatoes. Now that's what we're going to have. Right there. We get a little bit of that off the side. But that's what we're going to have. We're going to have roast, mashed potatoes, homemade rolls, and gravy. What we're going to have. God bless you. God bless us. God bless the United States. I've got to hurry up and get out of this kitchen. I'm burning up. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.